Hey guys, hope you're all doing great. I'm Hoodie, and today we're going to check out some Reddit stories together. And if you enjoy listening to Reddit stories, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. The subreddit Am I the Asshole? Excellent amount for 38. Am I the asshole for refusing to pump for my mother-in-law? So I am a first-time mom, and this whole experience has been very overwhelming for me. My wonderful baby just hit 3 months and is officially no longer a newborn. I have been lucky enough that I have good supply, so my baby girl is exclusively breastfeed, except for any excess that we use when my husband does her night feeds. I have made it very clear to most of our friends and family that I don't want anyone but me or my husband feeding her. My mother-in-law has been slightly annoyed, bordering on judgmental about this, but has mostly kept her mouth shut. We have never had any issues in the past, so I just chalked it up to her wanting to bond with the baby. I might allow it when she's older, but for now I'm not comfortable with anyone else doing it. So we were over at my sister-in-law house for her son's birthday, and while all the cousins and husbands played outside, me and all the ladies sat inside playing past the baby. She ends up in my mother-in-law arms and begins to fuss and make her hungry cry. I stood up and went to take her before she pulled her back and told me to go make a bottle. I told her no, that I would go to the guest room and feed her. My sister-in-law stood up and said she had some formula and would make it for me. I refused again and quickly took my baby, saying she's never had formula and I don't want her to be sick. My mother-in-law sighs and rolls her eyes and asks, "Why don't you just pump some so I can feed my baby?" I must have been visibly horrified because one of my other sister-in-law stood and tried to guide me away by my shoulder. I took her to the other room to feed her and sat in there with her for the rest of the party. The sister-in-law whose party it was came to find me. I almost hit her when she said, "Don't you think it's a little selfish you won't let mom feed the baby? You could have just pumped a couple ounces for her." I said I will never pump anything for anyone because I'm not a cow, and she's my baby. She declared I was being bitchy and walked away. My husband doesn't know this is all happening, but on the ride home, his mother and 2 of the other wives texted me to tell me it was unfair to hog my baby and to make it so she couldn't bond with anyone else, and that I should have just pumped before I came, so I didn't have to hide her away. My mother-in-law specifically said that I was being so selfish with her only granddaughter, and it wasn't fair to her that she couldn't even feed her baby. I just texted back that it wasn't her baby and put my phone on Do Not Disturb. I know I should tell my husband, but I don't want to add more strain as he and his mother are still trying to heal their relationship from when they had a big fight a couple years ago. I don't want to cause drama, but I'm starting to feel very guilty, especially since I'm still getting tons of texts about how cruel I'm being. Am I the asshole for refusing to pump for my mother-in-law? From my personal perspective, Opie did absolutely nothing wrong here. This wasn't about bonding or helping. It was about control. Opie had clearly set a boundary around feeding her baby, and that boundary was repeatedly dismissed, minimized, and mocked. When someone physically pulls a baby away from their mother and demands she go make a bottle, that's no longer well-meaning, it's entitlement. What really bothered me is how Opie was pressured and shamed in front of other people. Rolling eyes, calling her selfish, texting her afterward. This wasn't concern for the baby. It was punishment for not complying. Feeding a child is an intimate decision, and no one is owed access to that experience just because they want it. To me, Opie's reaction wasn't dramatic. It was protective. Removing herself and her baby from a hostile situation was the calmest option available in that moment. Additional information from Opie's comments. To clear up the questions about bottles and pumping, I don't usually bring bottles with me. Honestly, it just stresses me out. Even when my husband feeds her, I get anxious because I'm scared she'll choke and I won't get to her fast enough. This is because my little sister choked whilst being fed by our great aunt and almost died. She hadn't been holding her properly, and my sister had to be rushed to the hospital. I was very young, but the memory is still very fresh in my mind even when my husband is feeding our baby. I never want my baby to be unsafe while being fed, and I worry about other people feeding her because of this. Now, I mostly only pump for overflow when we go out, and even then, I end up dumping some because I produce enough that I don't need to save it. I also don't keep the pump in her diaper bag, so it's not like I even had it with me at the party. She will take a bottle when she's really hungry, and my husband does feed her sometimes. But even he doesn't expect me to pump just for him. He actually thinks it's best if it stays just us feeding her for at least the first 6 months. And I agree. She definitely prefers straight from me anyway. And even with her dad, she can get fussy unless the milk is warm just right. Honestly, I doubt she would have taken it at that party even if I had pumped. This isn't the first time IMIL has brought up feeding either. She asked to feed her in the hospital on the second night, and my husband told her no. Since then, she's been allowed to help with other things. She was there for her first bath. She changes her sometimes if I'm cooking or busy, so it's not like she hasn't had chances to bond. Feeding is just the one thing I haven't budged on. Part of it is also my own comfort. I prefer feeding her somewhere quiet, and I don't hate feeding in public. But one time I tried at a family gathering, and my brother-in-law walked in right as I was pulling down my shirt. Ever since then, I've just done it privately at family events. As for my husband's side of things, he actually had a big fight with his family a couple of years ago and went low contact for a while. He only reconnected because he missed his dad and siblings and wanted our daughter to have grandparents. He isn't at his mom's beck and call like his brothers, but I know if I tell him everything and show him the texts, he might cut her off again for a while. That's why I've been hesitant. And I'll admit, I did feel a little guilty after people told me I was making my village small. I don't want to be selfish, but at the same time, this is my baby, and feeding her feels like such an intimate, important thing. It's not something I'm willing to hand over just to make my MIL happy. All right, the community agrees OP needs to tell her husband. She's definitely not the a-hole. So, now let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. So after everyone's suggestions, I decided I was going to talk to my husband when he'd go home from work. I put baby down to sleep before initially posting, and I posted because of all the messages from mother-in-law and sister-in-law. Apparently his oldest brother's wife had called him today at work and told him what my mother had said and what the other wives had said when I left the room. We sat at the kitchen table, and I had him read the messages from start to finish. He was upset with me at first for keeping it from him, then hugged me and said he hated that I had to go through this alone. He went upstairs to call his mother. He told me after about 10 minutes on the phone that until baby is a year, mother-in-law will have minimal contact, as well as his sister not being allowed around the baby either. He told me to block both their numbers for the time being, and so I did. He also told me that their fight 2 years ago was over his mother trying to get him back with his ex right after he proposed to me, and that's why they stopped talking for the rest of that year. He said he told his mother that if she pushes for more next time we give her an opportunity, that it would be her last chance at a granddaughter. This has all progressed so quickly, and everyone was right about talking to my husband. I wish I had gone right to him when it happened, but I was so worried to put more strain. Thank you for all the advice. More info. Part of the tension here is that most of my sisters-in-law formula fed, and I really do believe my mother-in-law had a hand in that. She made it clear from the start that she expected to feed all her grandkids, and I think that pressure is why things escalated with me. I tried to encourage bonding where I could, but I just couldn't agree to being treated like a cow to make that happen. I'll admit a lot of this ties into my own anxiety. My sister has health issues, and even though I know logically they aren't connected, I still carry a constant fear for my baby's safety. After the altercation, I just wanted to get somewhere quiet and safe with her, which is why I pulled away so quickly. The one bright spot in all of this has been realizing the support around me. One of my sisters-in-law actually pulled me aside and tried to get me away from the situation when it blew up, and I'll always be grateful for that. And my husband, he's been incredible, protective, loving, and such an involved father. Seeing how much he cares for me and our baby has made me realize I couldn't have asked for a better partner in all of this. Final update. Hubby got home early tonight, and we checked my phone together. Messages totaled out to mother-in-law, 14 voicemail, 23 calls, 67 texts. Sister-in-law, 8 Facebook messages, 4 phone calls, 17 texts. Father-in-law, but clearly from mother-in-law, for more voicemail, 5 calls, and 31 texts. I let my husband handle them as I didn't feel like reading them while already feeling so stressed about it. Afterwards, he took about an hour to calm down in the basement. With the update, it becomes very clear that Opie's instincts were right all along. This wasn't a single misunderstanding. It was a coordinated pressure campaign. The volume of calls, texts, and voicemails alone is alarming. That kind of behavior crosses from overbearing into harassment, and it confirms that the issue was never about the baby's needs. It was about entitlement and power. What stands out to me most is the contrast between Opie's anxiety-driven caution and her husband's response once he knew the full story. Instead of defending his mother, he defended his wife and child immediately and decisively. That's what healthy partnership looks like. I also think it's important that Opie acknowledged her own anxiety while still holding firm boundaries. Being aware of your fears doesn't invalidate your right to make decisions for your child. It strengthens it. In the end, this story isn't about pumping or breastfeeding. It's about autonomy, respect, and protecting a mother during one of the most vulnerable phases of her life. Opie didn't hog her baby. She protected her. And with the update, it's clear she did exactly what was needed. Now, let's move on to the next post. The subreddit Am I Overreacting? Chocolate, Lab 2520. Am I overreacting for being upset that my fiancé let me go hungry? I'm just going to hop right into the story. Basically, my fiancé and I just moved into a new apartment today and have not had time to go grocery shopping. Also, sadly enough for me, my purse was stolen while I was in a graduate class yesterday evening, so I currently do not have access to my funds. I paid for the deposit as well as next month's rent for the apartment, and also have been responsible for purchasing the living room furniture. My fiancé bought our bedroom furniture. Well, this evening, he asked what we should have for dinner, and I suggested a local Chinese takeout spot as it is cheap and quick. He responded with, "Okay, go get it." To which I asked if he was paying for it because, again, card stolen. He said, "Nope. Looks like you'll have to find something else." I just went and continued unpacking my closet. About 30 minutes later, he told me he'd be back and quickly left the apartment. When he returned, he had gotten himself takeout from a different place and also grabbed a frozen meal from a convenience store. I was immediately frustrated because he didn't mention food when he left, but I didn't say anything. Then, when he put the frozen meal away, he turned and said, "That's not your dinner. It's my lunch tomorrow," which just caught me off guard. I got pretty upset and asked what he expected me to eat because we literally have no food in the apartment yet, and I won't have access to any type of money until I can get to my bank tomorrow. He literally just shrugged at me and then took his meal into our bedroom where he ate while unpacking. I won't lie, I cried and called my best friend asking if she would please bring me snacks or something to get me through the night because the last time I ate was at 7 a.m. My fiancé said that I was dramatic and that I'd be fine until I could go to the bank tomorrow to get cash. My feelings are so hurt because I do not understand how he could let me go hungry even for just a night. Am I overreacting? From my perspective, this wasn't about food. It was about basic care. The fact that Opie's fiancé knew she had no access to money, knew there was no food in the apartment, and still chose to buy food only for himself is deeply troubling. That shrug wasn't ignorance. It was indifference. And indifference in a relationship, especially in moments of vulnerability, is a serious red flag. What makes this worse is the power imbalance in that moment. Opie had just paid major housing costs, lost her purse, and was clearly stressed. Instead of stepping up, he dismissed her hunger and labeled her emotional response as dramatic. Crying because you haven't eaten all day isn't overreacting. It's a normal human response. To me, this moment reveals something fundamental. When it mattered, he chose himself without hesitation. And that's not a small issue, it's a warning sign. Now let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. Hi everyone. First and foremost, I want to say thank you to everyone who left reassuring comments and advice. I truly appreciate it all. Second, I was able to have someone bring me food, so my stomach was full. Third, the apartment is mine and my name is the only one on the lease. Once everything went down and I read some comments that opened my eyes to the abuse I was facing, I called my mom who lives in Florida. She and two of my cousins started the drive up immediately, and they made it here earlier today. I am happy to report that they helped me get my ex-fiancé and all of his belongings out of my apartment. He was not happy at all, of course. He attempted to call and text hundreds of times, but I blocked him on literally everything, so that he has no access. I do feel sad that the last 7 years of my life was a waste, but onward and upward, I suppose. My mom and cousins are staying for the weekend to help me unpack and settle down. Once again, thank you so much for the support, and I'll post another update if anything changes. Edited to add. He is moving back in with relatives pretty far away from me, so he won't have regular access to me. Alright everyone, which story got you fired up the most? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. As always, thank you for spending your time with me. Your support genuinely means the world. Take care, much love, and I'll see you in the next one.